Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course stream for fun. Today we're going over gaming news. This is November 12th through the 18th. Not too much happened this weekend. This week there was a little bit, but the majority of the news, pretty much across the board, has been all about Modern Warfare 3. Now, if you're curious about that and what I think about it, or how I've followed this story through Modern Warfare 3, I do have a video. I'll have that posted at the end of this one, so you have an opportunity to look at it. It's going to look just like this. You're just going to look at the action screen as I chat about the game, and also talking about what some others have talked about through their playthrough. Personally, I haven't played it yet, but I definitely want to get my hands on it. But in the meantime, I'm playing older Sledgehammer games because I eventually want to try to figure out what's going on with Sledgehammer. Every project they've led on, the game has came out worse than the one before. So hopefully I can try to figure this out. We'll see. So in this one, this gaming news, we're going to be talking about an update on Mortal Kombat and Warner Brothers. We're also going to have a little bit of a thing from Blizzard. Believe me, it's not good. Also, a little bit on Unity after their debacle earlier this year. We're going to talk about Call of Duty, of course, headquarters in Modern Warfare 3 a little bit. Baldur's Gate 3, and the KOTOR Remake. So let's see, you can go and follow me at Twitch, Don't Tread on Thee, and also at YouTube at GamingGarbage22. And you can like and sub, that helps too, but don't forget to share. Share it with other people that you think would be interested in the content. So let's go ahead and get into this. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I know it's been cold over here, but Mortal Kombat looks like it's going the wrong way. So we've had some changes with Mortal Kombat 11, where there's, of course, some microtransactions. And we've had microtransactions before, but never on this scale. So Mortal Kombat 1 has a fatality that they had for Halloween for $10, just for the fatality. It was unique and it was interesting, and the only way to get it was to buy it, which is fine. But again, it's that type of microtransaction trash where they're having the devs focus on making very low quality content instead of actually producing something for their longevity of their game. And we've seen this repeatedly across stuff. Now, if it's a free or free-to-play game like Fortnite or Apex or Valorant or something like that, I can see that as being acceptable. But when you're paying for a game, you're expecting actual content, new characters, new story, maps, something, not just more skins. Am I right? Because that's what we pay for. We're wanting to pay for an actual game that we can have fun with instead of just a whole bunch of opportunities for microtransactions to fill a digital closet. So what are they doing? So they did actually apologize this time, which is nice. Mortal Kombat, the developers, they said, hey, we're sorry for the $10 microtransaction. Here's a bundle for 2 more with the Halloween one. And so they call this like the holiday bundle. So you get one for Halloween, you also get one for Thanksgiving, and you also get one for Christmas. And it's just one fatality per holiday, and you'll get it upon release, and it's $30. So again, they're keeping the price tag the same, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever that, hey, if you already paid, for the Halloween one, you can have the other. I think it's the opportunity, maybe. It wasn't completely clear. It was hard to kind of decipher the article and the little bit of research that I did. But again, it's like we have another game, another genre, another IP that's just going microtransaction. And this really sucks. Mortal Kombat has been a huge staple for a lot of people. It's been around since the 90s. I mean, a lot of us actually grew up with this. And the games have evolved over time with like graphics and quality and characters, and that's been exciting. But yeah, now we're just getting into microtransactions, and that's what they're producing. They do also have a bundle of characters that's like $40, and you get multiple characters, and each character has multiple fatalities or executions that you can have, to where they're literally just like $1 or a couple bucks a piece per fatality if you do the math. But here they're wanting to sell you holiday ones for $10. It's disgusting, folks. And then, too, the devs are wasting their time on this. And in most cases, we've seen that a lot of devs don't really have a say. It's just the publisher or the heads of the company, and they're just like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We don't care. And this really sucks because this is how the industry is going. And for developers, it's not fun, standing up for your job right now. But everybody is having layoffs. It's a little scary out there. We'll get to some more later in this episode. But yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. They're also selling a voice pack for Omni-Man. So he's going to be coming to Mortal Kombat 1, and his voice pack is going to be $10. You're just going to have a few lines of the actual actor that says some things for Omni-Man, and that's going to be $10 on its own. Now, the last time I remember seeing this was, we've seen this a few times, but I think I don't know if it was The Last of Us for one of them, but I know for sure it was, oh man, the game is right on the tip of my tongue. But the point is that we've seen this before. We've seen, oh yeah, Gollum. That's right, Lord of the Rings Gollum. They actually had a voice pack that they wanted you to pay for instead of actually just putting it in the game. And yeah, microtransactions are just getting more scammy, folks. They're not selling you anything of value. They're just trying to find, putting a whole bunch of like fishing hooks out there with horrible bait and wanting you to buy on it. And as long as we stand together and start really saying no to this on a long-term basis, not just for the rest of this year or even all of next year. I'm talking like years until it actually changes. But yeah, quit buying this stuff, because that's the only reason they're making it, is because they know people buy it. It's pretty insane. But yeah, Mortal Kombat, the same developer and publisher, they had a huge success with their mobile game, with their microtransactions, but it was also a free-to-play model, and now we're seeing that implemented in the actual Mortal Kombat series for PC and console. It's just frustrating. We're also seeing that Warner Brothers, with the new CEO, the focus has been microtransactions. And this is actually part of the problem, because Warner Brothers, I believe, owns Mortal Kombat, and they also made some comments about Hogwarts Legacy, is that they missed an opportunity with Hogwarts Legacy that came out in February of making more money. Initially, you look at some of the quotes, they were excited about some of the revenues that they had, the amount of copies that they sold of the game, and they did do very well. But again, that wasn't enough. They're like, oh, if it was that popular, we could have had a whole microtransaction store in there with a whole bunch of other stuff to pay for, and we would have made so much more money. But what they don't understand, folks, is that a lot of us like the games that don't have stores, and that's why they sell well. And as long as, there's kind of an experience for the fan base, or the gameplay, the level design and mechanics are pretty good, or the game launches fairly well, and the devs care to fix it, whatever the other issues are, then yeah, the game sells. Yeah. And as soon as you shove a microtransaction store, it lessens the value. And folks, they do not understand this. They don't understand that concept. So we're not loud enough. And I think the only way to really voice our opinion is withhold our money. So folks, yeah, we got to buckle down and start doing this, or we will lose our hobby completely at some point. But this isn't the only bad news. We know that with Hogwarts Legacy, it had a kind of a multiplayer spin-off of Quidditch, and that has a ton of microtransactions in it. Take a look for yourself. Also, we know that Suicide Squad has been in the works. That was delayed. It's supposed to be coming out in February 2nd of next year. But how microtransaction-y is that going to be? Are we going to have a store for different skins for our 4 characters that we can play between, or different gun skins or hammer skins? What are they going to shove in there? I also worry about the future of other Warner Brothers games. They've made some wonderful games and have some really good IPs to run off of. But do you want to have to play, like the next Injustice or the next Batman game, or even a Superman game where the main focus is, again, microtransactions and skins? It's gross, folks. It's gross. And that's what these companies are focusing on. And the thing that we have to realize, too, is that all companies are pretty much starting to shift this way. It's not just a few. It's not just like EA and Ubisoft and Square Enix or whatever. okay, or Activision Blizzard, there is a definite shift. Is that other companies are seeing the success and the revenues coming through of some of these public companies, and so they're trying it too. And so yeah, we got to speak really loud, folks. We really do. Because the best time to apply pressure to these companies is during recession. And what that means is withholding money, withholding sales, or waiting for a sale, or not buying the game at all, right? Or not buying the microtransactions, and hitting them where it hurts in the pocketbook. But that also means, in turn, producing more layoffs for these companies. Or even having the studio shut down. So, and I'm willing to do that. I mean, it sucks, and if you don't agree, then go ahead and keep buying the games. But we don't want this in our gaming industry because it's not going to help anybody in the long term. In other news, Unity just announced that they're going to have a fourth round of layoffs. So they already had a round in June of 22. That was 200. In January of 23, they had 300 layoffs. In May of 23, they had 600. And so the trend is just that it's just getting bigger every time. So we can probably expect, maybe at least another 500 at a minimum, maybe up to 1,000 with this next round of layoffs. And so with Unity, they've had some very bad PR. I'm sure there were some other people within the company that were like, hey, this is a really horrible idea. But, it was pushed through the board anyway, which is horrible. And the thing that sucks is, even though they got in so much hot water and they did change a lot of stuff, they took 2 steps forward and 1 step back. There is still going to be something with their newest engine, their newest version, that is going to be taking a cut from downloads of people's games that use Unity. And so it's still there. It's not as intense, but it's still there. And they can make it more intense whenever they want. And generally what we see, whether in relationships, whether it's in politics, our hobbies, our industries, companies, whatever, we see that changes and adjustments that are small go unnoticed, or they're more acceptable. And it's kind of like boiling a frog from cold water to hot, and they can't feel the difference. And by the time it's too late, they're already dead, right? The frog dies in the pot. And I feel like that's kind of how we are, is we don't have a sense of awareness like we used to be able to just pay attention to some of this stuff. And I think it is going to get worse until it gets better. I mean, the pain that has to be applied has to be immense. But yeah, Unity's going to have more layoffs, so we'll have to see what that's like. And I don't think we're done with layoffs either. The data coming out, I'll eventually, later toward the end of this year, I'm going to do another economic update. But yeah, I don't think we're done with layoffs for a lot of companies, including the big ones like Sony and Microsoft and whatever. I think there's more trouble coming. So prepare, folks. Get your finances in order. Next, Call of Duty headquarters is a mess. They've even had to be putting out, Activision Blizzard has had to be putting out some patches just for Call of Duty headquarters, because there's some issues with being required to actually have a certain game in, or a certain version of a game for a physical disc, which you may not even have, but you have to put that in anyway, which is ridiculous. They've also had some server issues or some lag issues, and they've also had issues with hackers. But now, Call of Duty headquarters is 3 games in 1. So even when you look at it on Steam charts, you're actually looking at a total count of 3 games. And I mentioned this in my Modern Warfare 3 look review, is that, with the peak of 138,000 players, that's between Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, and Modern Warfare 3. So Modern Warfare 3 really didn't do that good. It has done absolutely horrible, and we don't have separate numbers anymore for Call of Duty in the future, which sucks. But I think they're going to continue to have headquarters because it benefits them in some way, while taking up an extra 50 gigs on your hard drive if you have it for Xbox or PlayStation. And for PC, I don't know what the download is for that, but I'm sure it's still quite big. And 2, what's still frustrating is, and this is on purpose, is that Call of Duty headquarters, the way it's all designed, is that if you haven't bought Modern Warfare 3 yet after the launch, you now get to see, like when you boot up Warzone or Modern Warfare 2, you now get to see that you actually start in Modern Warfare 3. You're not starting with an ad anymore. It's worse than that. You're actually starting in the Modern Warfare 3 game, and then it tells you, oh, you don't have access to any of this. Buy the game. So then you got to back out, you got to move to something else, then you got to get into that game, check for an update, restart again, and then you can finally play the game. It is such a hassle, folks. I just worked on doing that tonight for Warzone. We ended up getting a win tonight again. We're getting better. But y'all, this is so frustrating, and these changes too are not Microsoft's fault. The entire process, they haven't had any influence over Modern Warfare 3 or Activision besides what was done in the deals between the agencies around the world to buy Activision Blizzard. Now that they actually own them, guess what? They're going to be able to start having their fingers in the pie, and I hope they fix some of this, including removing some of the leadership that has become the problem, or the root of some of the issues of why Overwatch 2 failed, Diablo 4, why it's a joke, and why Modern Warfare 3 is the most hated COD ever. It's also the lowest reviewed ever. So they have some work cut out for them, honestly. And I really hope Microsoft cleans house and works on getting back to studios that can actually put out good games. So yeah, again, the next piece of news I was going to cover is Modern Warfare 3 is the lowest rated COD ever. It got a 4 out of 10 by IGN, and users on Metacritic are putting it at a 1.7 out of 10. 1.7, folks. The next game to do horrible was Vanguard, which had like a 5 or a 6 out of 10, and then a 3.6 out of 10 for user score on Metacritic, which is also, a Sledgehammer's game. So this is why I'm wanting to look at Sledgehammer. So we already did World War II. That's up by now. We're also going to do Vanguard. I think I'm going to do that one next. And then we're also going to take a look at Advanced Warfare. And then we're going to take a look at Modern Warfare 3, which is actually the start of their development. So Sledgehammer has experience with COD since like 2010, folks. Or 2012, somewhere in there when Modern Warfare 3, the original, released. And what sucks is that we know that another Modern Warfare is coming because they didn't finish the campaign story of Modern Warfare 3 in the new Modern Warfare 3. So now we're going to get a Modern Warfare 4. And again, I don't even see the point. I am waiting to get a copy from GameStop when there's used copies of Modern Warfare 3, which I'm sure there's going to be some eventually. But I'm going to look for it, borrow it for a week so I can play it here on the channel and actually show you guys. And then basically do my final analysis of Sledgehammer and try to, figure out what's going on. Because, yeah, what they're making is just getting ridiculous. Because you really can't get lower than a 4 out of 10 or a 1.7 out of 10. There's not a lot of room left before you hit rock bottom. It's pretty insane. Also, Baldur's Gate 3, this is some wonderful news. So we can expect Baldur's Gate 3 to come to Xbox and a kind of re-release for PlayStation 5. We can expect to see it in December. And this is a deluxe edition. So if you have PC and PlayStation 5, the game's already out, right? And you've probably already played it. But for you Xbox folks, such as myself, you're able to get it in December likely sometime, just before Christmas. Maybe if you're good, Santa will give it to you. This is officially, technically supposed to release during Q1 of next year. So this would probably be around the time of Suicide Squad. But there are rumors circulating that it's December. And I see it repeatedly over and over and over again. And there are actually some quotes to back this up from someone in Larian Studios. So I'm kind of excited about that. I really hope it is December, because we need another good game to come in for this year. It sucks they're not considered for... oh, no, I guess they would be considered for the award. The Game Awards, wouldn't they? Because, yeah, that already came out. But anyway, so let me get into the Deluxe Edition. This is really what I'm digging into, and this is how to do it right. So the game right now is $70. Okay? For an extra $10... for the Deluxe Edition. This isn't some fancy COVID edition to the max, right? This isn't a collector's edition or anything. This is just a Deluxe Edition. And this is coming out also for PlayStation, PC, and... is it PC? It might just be for the consoles, folks, but for PlayStation and for Xbox. So the deluxe edition is going to be $80, and this is what you get. You're going to get about 3 dozen different stickers, 2 patches, a wall poster, a world map that's rolled up and kind of like a scroll. You're going to get a physical soundtrack. So these are physical CD discs that you're going to have. You're going to have a soundtrack to all of the music. And then you're also going to have a physical game, which we shouldn't even have to be talking about that ooh, you get a physical game, because there's some other things like with the Pandora Frontiers, or excuse me, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. That doesn't have a physical game, I don't think, because we don't see it in the collector's edition, which sucks. It should be there, but we know we're getting away from that too. If you're interested, I have a State of Gaming called Digitization, where I go over kind of the history, where it is today, and where I think it's going, and ultimately what the result is going to be for all of this. So if you're interested in that, you can find that in my playlist of State of Gaming. But yeah, the physical game, this is cool. We're going to get the entire game file on discs. So Xbox is going to have 3 discs, and PlayStation 5 is going to have 2 discs. And you're going to have the entire game files in your possession. It's not just going to be part of it or a piece of it, like a lot of games have been lately. Modern Warfare 2, Jedi Survivor, Starfield, the list goes on. But this time, you actually get a physical, the entire physical edition and all the files for Xbox and for PS5. And that's wonderful. And again, that shouldn't have to be a staple, but the trend is what it is, and we need to vote with our money, folks. And you're actually going to get all of the game files, which is really cool. So, again, that is just $80. That is just $80. What a comparison. You can spend $150 or $125 for some of these collector's editions, or maybe even $200. And you don't even get near this much. Now, the stickers and patches, probably wouldn't really care about that, but the poster's kind of nice. There's a world map of the entire thing, which is cool. You get the full soundtrack, which I'm a music guy. I really like music, so that's really neat. And it's physical. It's not just some download. And then you get the entire game on your discs. And see, companies are able to provide you multiple discs so that you have all of the files, but they don't do that for their benefit. It's never for us, folks. It's for them. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 Deluxe Edition is going to be worth it just for $80. Just an additional 10. If you're going to buy it anyway, the additional 10 gets you all that stuff, which is awesome. Lastly, we got to talk about KOTOR Remake. So Embracer Group is working on this. It's had some issues. This has technically been rumored milled for almost 10 years now that we're getting a KOTOR Remake, and that in the future a KOTOR 2 Remake. But there's been some problems in the last few years. So we know that Embracer Group took a look and was like, nope, this is horrible. We're going to postpone this. We're going to hand it over to another studio. Okay, fine. They handed it over to Saber, and Saber usually puts out some pretty good stuff. But we also got to see that Sony took down, I think it was Sony, took down some stuff, like the trailer, officially, and people kind of freaked out, so they put out a statement several days later saying, hey, it's because of the licensing for the Star Wars music. We didn't pay for it. It's expired, the license, and so we have to take it down. Okay, fair enough. Next, now we get to see that there's really nothing going on for the development. And the head of Embracer, or one of the spokespersons, is now saying that they don't want to make a comment on KOTOR Remake because it's always a headline. It's like, well, yeah, dude. Most of us are willing to pay $70 for just a remaster of KOTOR Remake. It's not a reboot, like you really have to redo any of the dialogue or have to redo anything else or kind of remake some of the missions. Literally just re-texturize to 4K at 30 or 60 frames, and we're going to buy it. Seriously, we're going to buy it. But yeah, there is something really going on wrong with this, and it's not official that it's canceled. I haven't been able to find that, even though that's the headline in a lot of articles. But it is not technically official. But everything that we're seeing is that stuff's being taken down. We're also seeing like updates for KOTOR Remake or like kind of Q&A type of stuff. That stuff's being taken down, or frequently asked questions. Like, they're removing all of this stuff. And we know too that development on KOTOR Remake is stagnant right now, and that there's also been some issues. And there too, some people have also been fired over the KOTOR Remake. So, and this has been going on, yeah, this has been a rumor mill issue for 10 years. We've been waiting for this. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I absolutely love the space genre. And I love Star Wars. Not the new stuff. The older stuff. And this was a wonderful game. I love it. I think it's actually on sale right now for Black Friday on Xbox. You can probably check PlayStation too. But I think both KOTOR 1 and 2 are like $10 a piece right now. They're dirt cheap, and they're worth getting, and it might be worth just getting those anyway, because we don't know if we're actually getting a remake. And now they don't even want to talk about it, so that kind of indicates to me that things aren't going good. And this is really depressing, folks, because they screwed Star Wars Battlefront. We're not getting any more Jedi Academy or Jedi Outcast. We're not getting any more Star Wars Starfighter. We're not getting any more Force Unleashed. You know, there's been a rumor of a third one, but all we kind of have right now is Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. That has been kind of the staple to feed the Star Wars fans. We do have Ubisoft making Star Wars Outlaws, which I'm hoping that's a good one. That one too is going to be third person. Take a look at a trailer. It does look promising, but it is Ubisoft, so I'm still hesitant. But like a KOTOR remake would be great. There's a lot of other companies doing remakes right now, and they're very successful. There's other companies that are doing reboots where they're doing it a little more or improving some things, and those are usually going over pretty good too, for the most part. And again, this is not like you need an entire developed creative team to completely make up a game from scratch. The blueprint of the game is already there. All we're asking for is just remaster the thing in 4K. That's it. And what the hell is taking so long? I have no idea. But yeah, this is getting incredibly frustrating. And they could easily make some money on this. But I think the trend of companies, and I think this is important to highlight, is that they're focused on the microtransactions because they see that it makes more money over the same period of time. It's kind of like buying a product versus paying for a subscription service. If you actually just buy the car outright, and you're smart with your money, it really doesn't cost you that much. But if you continue to lease a car on a yearly basis for the next, 5 or 10 or 20 years, and then you still have to get something else after the contract, it is going to continue to cost you money. It's like upgrading your phone every couple of years, and then you always have a phone payment. Folks, that's a subscription service. That's not what they tell you what it is. But to actually pay for it outright, you pay hundreds of dollars just to pay for the phone in cash. They want you to get the deal. That's why they have the deals in the first place for these phones, right? To say, oh, you're saving $500 if you basically get on their plan and just... It's all marketing, folks. It's all marketing. That's what they want. And the companies, the gaming industry is figuring out that microtransactions are profitable in the tens of billions a year, and that's disgusting. I want games like the original Modern Warfares. I want games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, and even Lords of the Fallen, or Liza P and Steel Rising, even though some of those are kind of glitchy. Liza P isn't, but Steel Rising and Lords of the Fallen are pretty glitchy and need a lot of refinement. Or Baldur's Gate 3, God of War. I mean, imagine if Legends of Zelda had a freaking microtransaction store. And that's what they focused on as a development team. Instead of making the game polishing it out, all of that stuff. And that's something, too, I appreciated about Starfield. Bethesda made Fallout 76 with a store, but they didn't do that for Starfield. They said, look, we're making a game, we're creating a sandbox experience, go explore. Now, there's some other issues with the game, which I touched on during my Starfield review, if you want to listen to me drone on for an hour. But, like, the game, it personally is not a bad game, in my opinion. It's just there are some things that could be done to make it better, but it's not like the game's broken. But, again, it's like it doesn't have a microtransaction store. That's really nice. And every game that has a microtransaction store, I have a problem with it most of the time. Because you can tell that there's a focus on microtransactions instead of actually creating an experience. They've sucked you in, folks. They've gotten you on a subscription service to collect digital goods. It's getting insane. So that's actually all I had for this week's news. A shorter one. But yeah, like I said, there actually wasn't really too much. But yeah, some weeks are really busy where I'm almost talking for an hour, and other ones are pretty short, just like this one. Of course, you can always follow me again at Twitch, at Don't Tread on Thee, and also at Gaming Garbage 22 on YouTube, where I archive everything. Like and sub if you enjoy the content, I appreciate that. But two, don't forget to share, and I really think that's what's going to make the channel grow. Remember to stay safe out there. If you're going on road trips for Thanksgiving, plan a little bit, have some kind of a kit, have some emergency food, make sure you have a shovel, and have some chains. I think the winter is going to suck for especially the eastern part of the country. But yeah, just be careful out there, and remember to invest in your families. And if you don't really have a good family setup or whatever, then invest in your friends. You know, take time to do something for the holidays. Don't just sit there and be depressed. Some of us don't have wonderful lives. Some of us have really difficult ones, and anywhere in between. But we all struggle with something. Everybody you see out there, we're smiling and saying, yeah, we're good, we're doing great. Things are fine. But we're all struggling with stuff, folks. Just remember that. And so reach out, make some connections, make some friendships and relationships stronger. Because that's really what's going to make you more satisfied than just buying a bunch of microtransactions for a game. So with that, folks, I'll see you on the next one.